Hey everyone, I'm Victor Dwyer with Piranha, and today this is the Failures and Wins podcast. And today we have ATM on, and today we're going to talk about how to build a brand in Amazon. We're going to talk about his journey, how he got into this in the first place, how he got into this whole Amazon mess and D2C and e-commerce mess. And then eventually we're going to just talk about brand building, what it means to build a brand in 2022, because it is getting harder and harder to build a brand and not just be a normal seller on Amazon. So ATM, thank you so much for joining today.
Happy to hear. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to get an intro on like how you got started. How did you get to the point where you were building this business, building your brand? How did you get to that point?
No, of course, it's a bit of a different, different routes than most entrepreneurs. I started with investment banking and private equity. So what I was doing back in the days is investing into consumer businesses. So all my career, I've been working with consumer companies in mostly beverages, food. So my previous fund, I was investing in consumer business in food and beverages for humans. Some of them you know very well, like Vita Coco, Oatly, Park Chips, Hint, somebody knows these kind of brands. And what we've realized is that actually the trends in food for humans were the same as the trends in food for pets. You think about naturals, think about gluten-free, think about limited ingredients. All these trends were also exactly the same one in pets. So we started investing in pet as well, and that's where I started my journey into the pet world, which I'm now doing full time with my own business. And after a few years investing into consumer businesses, I decided to create my own business, and I didn't look far from what I know. So with a friend of mine, we started our own business in the pet industry, but it's a beverage. So look, I knew very well the beverage industry, I knew very well the industry. So what we did is we took the best of both. We were to create the first functional beverage for dogs. The brand is called Wolf Spring. And we started online indeed. We are now online with our own D2C website, with Amazon, of course, and also retail stores, Target, and stuff like that. So omnichannel strategy.
Cool. That's awesome. So what would you say is your biggest strength, like between your strengths and weaknesses? Like, is it the full funnel marketing side? Because as an entrepreneur, like you have to wear all the hats within the company.
Yeah.
Like you have to be every single person. So what would you say? What role did you either enjoy the most? Or in what role did you not enjoy the most? If it was like the finances, was it the marketing strategy? What was your bread and butter, and what was not your bread and butter?
Now, of course, the interesting thing when you're an entrepreneur, I think, is you have things that you like to do, and usually that's the thing you're good at, or at least you enjoy doing it. So
Yeah.
by doing what you be good at it. And the key thing is to make sure you have people with you who can be good at stuff where you're not good at, right? So when we created this business with a friend of mine, that he was a COO in a pet business, and so he was very much into operations, finance, this kind of thing. Where some of them I know how to do, but he's probably more affinity with that part of the business, and I'm more into strategy, branding, things that I really enjoy doing as an investor. As an investor, we're a bit different investors than most of them. We did not look at the financials. I know it sounds weird, but basically our type of investment was you need to find the next big thing. So, for example, Valiant Best, the fund I was working with, we invested in Vita Coco, they were doing 1 million of revenue. Now they are close to 400 million of revenue. So the financials at the time doesn't matter that much, right? So the company is, doing 1 million of gross margin or whatever. You're like, I bet it's going to explode. So it's really finding the right brand, the right mindset, and the right entrepreneur to be, pushing these brands. And at the end of the day, it's another the consumer, and being able to spot the trends before they really become big. So Oatly is the oatmeal business, which is another big success. It's the same idea of saying, I'm going to spot the trend very early on. The milk, which is made out of plants, plant-based milk. And I'm going to early on because the brand is going to be good enough to grow and become something big. It's the same idea with Wolf Spring, is that we are starting a trend which is still very early, which is basically functional food for dogs. People are looking for more than just feeding their dog with basic nutrients. They want each food to bring something special to them. So what we do is we have them complement the diet of their dog to bring functionalities in it. Think about calming. If your dog is stressed, suffering from separation anxiety, suffering from stress for going to the groomer or to a car ride, what about I'm going to help you calm your dog with some functions added to the food. So this is really what I enjoy doing is spotting early trends and working on them. And it means educating the customer, which is a lot of work, but making the trends big in 5-7 years because we need to work in a long time frame for that. Oh, Victor, I can't hear you anymore. Hello?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Victor,
Can you hear me?
we can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yes, you can hear me. Okay, perfect. What I was gonna ask you was what trending, what process do you go through to find the trends? Are you like looking for people that are you seeing what your friends are doing and then going toward a similar route? What is your market research to say, hey, this trend is happening? What do I need to go from there? What process are you going through with that? ATM, are you there? I think we lost them. I'll at least go through like my process on how I at least go through trends. I have the realization of where people are going, and like also Google Trends is a great way to like see to just really test out your hypothesis as well. ATM, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Are you there? Um Yeah, and when it comes down to really finding the particular trend that you're looking for, that's where can you hear me?
You know, you're back. Sorry,
Perfect.
I'm back. I don't
Awesome.
know what.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what process do you go through to find the proper trends for your like? What process do you go through, like saying, "Hey, this trend is happening"? How do you prove that that trend is happening? And are you looking at your friends and saying, "Hey, my friends are looking for functional beverages. I need to go toward that route"? Or are you like, what's your market research process to say, "Hey, this trend is happening," and how to get ahead of it?
Oh, of course, it's very difficult because it's not because you have 100 people following a trend that all of a sudden it's going to become big, right? So finding the right one is often difficult. You need to have a lot of hints going to the same direction. So it's complex in a way. For example, if you take the overall trend of pets, we know that humanization has been a trend for now 5 to 10 years, meaning that people don't see their dog only as a dog, but someone, a family member, someone not like a kid, but closer to it, right? You know that people tend to have kids later in life stage, right? So now we have kids between 30 and 35, our parents are probably between 20 and 25. So the dog is becoming the new kid, right? Because you don't have kids between 20 and 30, but you still have these maternal or paternal feelings. So this trend of humanization keep going, right?
Yeah.
Now, you understand humanization is true, right? This is the first step of the process. Second step of the process, if I assume humanization is true, what's going to happen to dog food? Dog food is going to be closer and closer to human food. Okay? So second step of the process, I accept that human food is going to be, or dog food is going to be like human food. And then you keep on connecting the dots. So then it means that we are going to follow the same trend as what's happening in human food. What's happening in human food? And here you can see the real trends happening live in human food. You have a comparison of what's going to happen in the pet. So it's really making this assumption, of course. It's not hard fact. You will get wrong, I would say, 60% of the time. I don't know the exact number, but you get it wrong a lot of time. But when you have a lot of hints, you can start guessing. But to test, the trend happening is as much due to people changing than brand executing on it. The kombucha is not people asking for kombucha, it's the kombucha brand which did an amazing job at creating this kombucha market. Water has been around for millennials, right? It's been a drink in Southeast Asia for millennials, like centuries. What Vita Coco is being amazing at making it popular to the American consumers, and showing that it's great for hydration and stuff like that. So there is this consumer pool, but the brand push and the perfect execution is as important as the consumer pool. So I think it's this balance between the two things. You need to have, you feel the trend, and at the same time you feel you're going to have the right team and the right brand to execute on this strategy. I think that's a combination of both things.
That's really smart. That's really smart. When it comes to bringing your team together, you mentioned a COO that was really good. Like, now that you have a trend, that you have the market analysis saying, hey, this trend is going somewhere. How do you develop a team to get it to that point where you have this idea and you want to execute on the idea? Where do you find those A players to really help execute and really build a successful team for your brand?
Yeah, to be honest on that, it's a lot of trial and error, right? You're going to get other people around you. You're going to be better and better at hiring people as well. What we've realized as a young brand is that it's difficult to, being able to hire a lot of people. But the best talent around here, especially in today's world, a lot of them work for different companies. They have their own business, consulting companies or whatever. So if you want to have the best talents around, what we use a lot is people who are working for us 1-2 days a week. And this way we can afford to have someone who is very qualified just working for us a few days a week to get the best talent rather than building a full team immediately, which is very expensive for a very young startup. So that's how we build the business, and as we grow, we can take more and more in-house. And that's exactly what we're doing with Piranha today. We have a great team of people who can help us grow our own brand, and maybe people we could not have in-house because we don't have the resources, but having them as an external agency makes a lot of sense for us.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to other brand building process, what is the difference between building a brand on your direct to consumer site and building a brand on Amazon? Those are two completely different places and marketplaces. How is it different from building a brand on your e-commerce site than building a brand on your Amazon site? What's the difference and why?
No, it's very different and it's very interesting. As an investor, it's funny, back in the days as an investor, you would not invest in a company which was purely Amazon. Everybody would tell you it's purely commoditized because you don't want the customer, right? And with Amazon, you can write to the customer, but not really as much as you would like. You can't send them personalized email and stuff like that. So you don't really own the customer as much as a pure D2C website. So when we started with D2C because the idea was we wanted to have a strong relationship with our customer. I want to be able to ask them questions, to get their feedback on a lot of things, test idea with them. This is very important. This is something which is difficult on Amazon. At the same time, Amazon gives me a lot of customer, right? And some might argue that today I'm at Target. I can't discuss with the customer at Target, right? It's just like Amazon, it's like Target owns a relationship with the customer. I do not. I just put my product on the shelf. So I think the perception on Amazon is changing, but the brand building is slower on Amazon. You get viewed by more people, but your message cannot be as strong because you can't text them, you can't email them, you can't personalize a page and the experience as you would do. I'll give you an example. If you buy something on my website, you're going to receive a nicely branded box, which is exactly the size that you ordered, a nice welcome letter, which is coming with your product, explaining how to use it. You might have gift for birthday, stuff like that. And then you can potentially do it, but it's very difficult. And most of the brands don't do it. So the experience is going to be very different for my customer on Amazon and with my own website. You're going to have a better experience, and therefore my brand is going to resonate stronger on my D2C website than on Amazon. But I'll be honest, my CAC online on my D2C website is much higher than on Amazon because on Amazon I get some organic, change. It's just like my CAC at Target is 0 because customers just go at Target and buy my product. So it's really the same idea. D2C is a bank to build the brand, let's be honest. I control the experience from A to Z. Like every interaction with my customer I control, even customer support I control. With Amazon, I barely control everything, but it's cheaper to push a product. I think funds are now changing a bit their mind about it. They understand the strengths of Amazon, and even if your brand is not as strong, the margins are better, the cash flow is better, and therefore there is another, business play with some Amazon brands.
So, question for you: if I, you know how it's cheaper to acquire a customer on Amazon than a direct to consumer site. So, if you were had the decision between, let's say you had to pay $5 for an Amazon customer and pay $15 for an e-commerce customer, are you willing, like when it comes to budget allocation, obviously any normal person that would do finance wise would say, hey, obviously push Amazon, no duh. But from a branding perspective, do you have a different idea of saying, hey, I would rather push the e-commerce site because I own that customer, longer lifetime value play? Like, what is your thoughts? Even though it's triple the cost to push your e-commerce site, do you still push that more? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think most brands are doing what we are doing, which is using Amazon for cash and D2C for building the brand, basically. You need to have both.
Yeah.
You need to have both. I think multiple reasons. First thing is my customers are shopping everywhere, so I need to be everywhere. That's our strategy, or our vision at least. My customers are shopping D2C, Amazon in store. Like they do the three of them. It's not like exclusive to one, right?
Yeah.
People often say like, oh, it's either Amazon or D2C or offline. The reality is that people are doing everything, so you need to be everywhere. A lot of my customers are cross shoppers, and we have customers who shop D2C and Amazon and offline for the same product, for our product. They bought it in different places. Where are they going to discover the product? Sometimes it's Amazon, sometimes it's offline, sometimes it's our D2C ads. But we have a lot of people discovering our brands offline and then buying online, either Amazon or D2C. So you need to be everywhere anyway. But if I had to choose between whether I put more budget, right, most of my marketing budget, it's still going to be D2C because long term, D2C is stronger because on D2C I have customers, a lot of subscription. D2C, 30% of our revenues on D2C are subscription. Like this is growing and growing and growing. Amazon, you have some subscription, but it's not as strong because the experience is not as strong. So
Yep.
I think online long term, you need to spend a bit more D2C, but if you say I don't go on Amazon, it would be a mistake. And Amazon will still be there and we still grow. And we've seen it. We've been working together with Fiona for a year now. And we've grown the business like 4 or 5 times in a year. So we know that with Amazon, there is strong growth there and with good cash flow. But I think very long term from the brand, you need to spend a bit more on D2C.
What is a good, I know every business is different, but I'm curious on your budget allocation. Are you spending 70% of your budget toward your e-commerce site and 30% to Amazon? Like I'd love for you to sprinkle in like social media in there too. Like if you do social media brand building, like Facebook ads to, or like I guess that also counts toward your just for now. What is your e-commerce versus Amazon budget allocation? What
Yeah,
percentage would be there?
marketing budget-wise, today we are at 75% D2C, 25% Amazon. That's what we.
Wow.
But funny enough, the revenues, because the revenue split, Amazon is bigger than this 25% I spent. This is my point, because it's much more profitable in a way. My cap is on Amazon. But that's how we've done it. I think as well that we used to be in a period where VC were very aggressive because there was a lot of funds around and they were ready to pay for growth. I think the mentality is changing a little bit, and startups will be changing their mindset as well. They are going to move from a pure growth model to a more sustainable growth model. And this is one of the in a way sustainable growth because the cash is lower, profitability is higher. So we've been rebalancing. That's why I've been like stronger than that. And you see, like even 6 months ago, now we're rebalancing a bit to Amazon because we know that to show you.
I wish more and more people talked about this, like because I I wish more and more people were talking about being a seller versus, and you talked about sustainable growth versus like just crazy growth. I'm like super deep in the Amazon world, so it's always more and more and more and more and more, and it's never a long term conversation. It's all like it's in the Amazon world. It's all like, how can I increase my sales this week? How can I increase my sales this month? Um, and I understand from all the pressure on that, but that's just how the Amazon world is. But in the brand building world, it's like, okay, what does my year look like? What is my next like? What is my 2 year plan, 3 year plan, 4 year plan? And you're right when it comes to the sustainable model. That's the best way to really go about it. And when it comes to, you said that 75% of your spend was toward your D2C. And I'd like to dial in on that for a second. So, what is so after the iOS 14 update, Facebook ads were hit pretty hard, but not they're still it's still a pretty decent platform. Facebook still has the best targeting platform in the world. Like, so question to you, out of that 75% spend, what are you spending? Are you spending 50% of that toward Facebook ads? The rest toward like are you I don't you might be on TikTok, I'm not sure. Are you spending the rest on Google ads? What
Yeah.
what are you primarily spending most of your budget on the e-commerce side?
Now, to answer that, we need to remember at the beginning of we discussed the fact that we are building a new trend, right? That's what we're working
Sure.
as a business. So we're a bit of a special
Yeah.
business. Our functional drinks product don't exist. Yeah, did not exist before us. We're the first one to create it, which means we need to educate the customer. Nobody's going to Google functional drink products, right? So
Sure.
Google for me is a very small. We are more a push model than a pull model. So because we're a push model, I need to educate my customers. And for that, nobody can beat Facebook. Facebook, I can push videos explaining the product, explaining how to use it. So I can do, these 2 or 3 layers of ads, meaning that my customer will be exposed to 2 or 3 different ads, one ad to educate them on how to use the product, one ad to explain the benefits, and then one ad to purchase. You see my point? I can expose them multiple times. So I think we're a special brand. Most of the brands I know are very big on Google because, if you sell beers, I don't know, like craft beer, well, a lot of people will Google craft beer, so you're right to fight for the Google, the keywords craft beer. But my keywords don't really exist. So for us, Facebook and Instagram are very big. Our customers are mostly between 30 and 60 years old. And this kind of population is mostly on Facebook, not even Instagram. So we are mostly Facebook ads, a bit Instagram. We try TikTok and stuff. TikTok, to be honest, for the moment, ads, we're a bit disappointed. I think TikTok is a lot of organic, and it requires a lot of content creation, which is quite expensive. So it's not our big focus, especially also because of our target customers. It's not really where we spend the most money. So I would say it's 90% Facebook ads or Instagram ads.
Wow.
But it's one more time, it's ads to educate customers and ads to purchase. We need to do both because we are building really a trend.
Question for you. What about Google ads? Like, Google ads would be a great way to explain your product as well. What are your thoughts on Google? Or sorry, not say Google ads. YouTube ads. That's what I meant to say. What about YouTube ads? That's a really good way to explain your product. What about that?
So we did some YouTube ads. The issue we had with YouTube ads, it's very difficult to assess the real interest of the people. Because when you watch a video on YouTube, there's going to click on the link. So you're going to absorb the content, but I can't really follow the customer well enough to know if they're going to purchase in 5, 6, 7 days. On Facebook, if I push a video, I can quantify if the video is successful or not by the number of clicks I get after the ad is finished. You see my point? On YouTube, you're going to watch the video and then it's over. Maybe you like the video, but I can't know. So it's very hard for me to get back on YouTube. That's the issue we have with this channel. We did some ads on YouTube, but we really struggled to get real feedback on whether the ads had an impact or not. Same thing with a lot of brands are doing ads on radio. Radio is same thing. You educate your customers, they hear it, but the purchase is way after it, right? When they come home and then they decide to purchase, most people are listening to radio while driving. So you can try to put, promo code to track it and stuff, but it's much harder to track the impact. That's why Facebook is so strong. Facebook, you can really know everything about your customers. And also Facebook is great at targeting certain kind of people. YouTube can do it, radio can't do it, obviously.
So, question for you: when it comes to Facebook, dialing down on Facebook after the iOS 14 update, how everybody kind of scattered. Everybody was like, the world is ending. Everyone's gonna die. I better sell my business. That's what a lot of it. Because think about short-term mindset. It's all short-term mindset. But obviously, what did you do to kind of navigate the iOS 14 update? Did you there's certain tools to help navigate it? Did you did you change your campaigns? Do you go more brand awareness now? Are you not are attribution not as important to you now? Like you're just seeing overall attribution. What did you kind of change after the iOS 14 update?
I'll be honest, if anything, our metrics improved after the iOS 14.
Really?
And I can't say anything special. So yeah, on this one, to be honest, I was really surprised. But for us, it just kept improving after iOS 14. And I think the main reason is that a lot of people left the platform or reduce their budget, meaning that basically when we're bidding to have people and stuff, we get more people for our bucks. So you can see it as it's how to track customer. My customer are like dog owners, but it's not so difficult to track them in a way, and finding the right people for Facebook, I don't think it's very difficult. So it's not that I need to be super precise on the kind of people I need, but I think the fact that a lot of brands reduce their budget is also an opportunity. And we saw it with our metrics, where basically it was cheaper for us to acquire customers after the updates than before the update.
So when it comes down to that, are you sure Facebook isn't? Because you know how after the iOS 14 update, Facebook over attributed. I've seen some accounts where they're over attributing by double, meaning they're saying, hey, we did $300 sales just today. Like if you check the website, you only have 100. Like it's like, bro, like you're lying. You're just plain out lying at this point. So are you sure Facebook isn't just lying?
What they are bad at now is telling you how many sales they've done. This is for sure. This doesn't work anymore. So what we do is Google Analytics, where we can track exactly where our customers are coming from, right? What was the landing page they use. So the only metrics we use is Google Analytics. We don't use metrics from Facebook, because these metrics you can't trust anymore. That's for sure.
I just didn't want. I was like, it's like I didn't want you to think like, oh yeah, we're making so many sales.
I think they've improved since the beginning, the early days of iOS 14. I think now what the issue they have, it lags in time. Basically, if a customer did a purchase on Monday, it's going to be reported by Facebook as a Wednesday purchase. So that's the main issue we have. On the numbers, I don't think it's that different. At the beginning, it was. Now it sounds much better. But Google Analytics, you have all the metrics you need. So that's fine. That's what we use.
Wow, this is awesome. You really know your stuff. This is great. And I wanted to ask you about content. So you said about when it comes to informing their customer. And content creation is very, very difficult to get enough ads to really have a successful Facebook campaign. How did you get enough content to cycle through? Because you were talking about, hey, I want to see what Facebook ads performing well. How did you get enough content, and how do you have a constant flow of content? Are you getting user-generated content? How are you? Do you have a person that constantly creating new ads? What is your content system to constantly keep new Facebook ads in there to make it where you can constantly keep spending on Facebook?
So it's an interesting question. So we spend a lot of time on this. The first thing I would say is, for us, once we find an ad which works, we need to stick with it, because our ads get better over time. And the simple reason for that is a social proof. We are a product. I'm like a supplement for dogs or a food for dogs. You need to trust the product. You need to trust the brand. People don't trust Trustpilot. People don't trust reviews on websites. But what people trust is, on my ads, I have thousands of people who put in the comments. It's like a chat for them. I don't know. They like to chat on our ads. That's like, oh, I tried it for my dog. It works and stuff. And they trust these people more than they would trust a Trustpilot, because they can click on the profile of this person. They can see, his or her picture, how many kids they have, and stuff like that. It looks more genuine than most of the reviews you would find on Amazon, on Trustpilot, or any other review website. So the more my ad runs, the more comments we have. If you see our main ad on Calming Today, which is our bestseller, it has thousands of comments of people who tried the product and just comment. And some of the people say, I also have a Chihuahua. How did it work for you? And they reply, and you see them chatting on your ads. So that's why I can't change my ads that often. Once I found the right one, and you stick with it, because you can see the CAC declining months after months as we get more and more comments on the ad, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for products they trust, products they like, but the trust will come from the comments and the likes on the ad. So that's a very important thing for us, is that yes, we need to try new ads, but very quickly we need to find one which works and stick with it. The ad we have now has been run for a year.
Do you have a strategy to, is this like, are they just viewing the ad and going down and commenting below? Or are you saying, like, I'm just curious, do you have any strategy when it comes to the commenting? Like, are you saying, hey, comment below or anything else like that? You're just doing a normal ad, a normal like ad saying, explaining what your product is, and they just naturally check the comments, right?
It's a snowball effect as well. The more comments you have, the more comments you get. That's how it works, because they like to react to each other. But people, they don't know each other, and you can see them chatting on the ad directly, and tips. Even they talk about something totally different from my product. Say, oh, coming, I don't use this product, but I use something else, and I'm fine. We'll chat, give tips to each other, and that's good for the community. What we do is, of course, when people comment on the ad, we are going to comment as a brand and give them tips and stuff like that. So we make sure the conversation happens. So we push it. But on the ad, we don't push for please comment below or stuff like that. We don't do this. So that's the first thing, is really finding the right ad and sticking with it. We can be a bit conservative because a lot of brands like to test all the time. So we test for 2 to 3 months when we launch a new product. And then we stick with it. We're going to try some new ads from time to time, just to check if something cannot be better. But we rarely change when we find the right one.
How many ad graphics do you like start out with to like really stick with? You say, hey, I'm gonna this month or within the next 2 months, I'm gonna test these 10 and we're sticking with it no matter what. Or do you go with more? Do you go with less? What are your thoughts on that?
We start with like 20.
20.
We do a first batch of 20, and after 1 week already, you can see where it goes to. I'll give a stupid example. We just launched weight management in August. So it's a product to make your dog have them lose weight. Do you put a fat dog on the picture or a slim dog on the picture? You don't know, right? So you're going to test like 20 pictures. And actually, people prefer to see what your dog is going to be rather than what your dog is today. So when I would put like fit dog on the picture, is it supposed to be funny or serious? So you're going to try different stuff, and you're going to refine it every week. So at the end of the 2 months, you probably have tried, I don't know, 60 ads. But to bet you can change the ad every week. In 1 week, I know what's going to work or not. It depends on the budget you do, of course, but if you spend like $100 per ad, you should know if the ad is going to work or not. And then it's about the targeting audience as well, right? You need to try different audience as well. Are you going to try only people who try this other product? Are you going to be broader? My key takeaway on that is that Facebook knows better. So the less constraint you give to Facebook, the better. Like they are so good at finding the right audience very quickly. Then the less basically limits you give them, the better it is. But look, we do a few videos which are user generated, which are great for education but not for purchase. People don't buy based on these videos, but they like to see the videos at some point in their consumer journey. So we have always some videos from users running around. But what we use for purchase, to target the purchase, is a picture with very simple message, like 5-6 words max. You need to have basically visually to understand the message, and then you need to have 3 words. That's ideal, 5 words max, and that's kind of what we use.
Cool. So when it comes to your content creation process, like a lot of people would love to have 20 ads, but so you said that you were like filming and things like that. What is your content creation process? Are you going through filming a certain thing and then having a external content team throw like 20 ads together? What does that content creation process look like?
So for the videos, user generated, we just reach out to influencers saying, hey guys, you want to try our product? And make a video about it. That's it. We never paid any influencer. We just send them the product, and we say, you try the product. The only thing we ask is that we can use whatever video you're going to create for your own account as ad for us. So that's what we do for user-generated content, and you have a lot of people very happy to do it. And a lot of brands want to go with a big influencer and stuff like that. That's not what we do. We go is everyday people, because I think people can relate more to everyday people than having
100%.
This very fancy influencer living in a fancy house in Beverly Hills. Like that's not my customer, so that's not me either. So that's what we do for the videos, but it's really like a small part of our budget. The main part is images. Look, images is easy to create. You just need to come up with 6 or 7 ideas of what we call hook, what can interest a customer, and then we define it in multiple ways, multiple pictures and stuff like that. And you can do it very easily, with Canva, or you don't need to have like a full graphic artist team behind it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, that's really interesting. And what is kind of like top of mind for you as like, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now of like, where we have labor, at least in America, we have labor shortages, we have inflation. What is top of mind for you? Is it trying to find the right people? Is it supply chain? Supply chain's been a huge issue lately. Like, what is the biggest area? What are the top 3 things that are on your plate of concern of saying, hey, I need to figure out my supply chain. Hey, I need to figure out inventory. Hey, like, obviously I don't think you're afraid of marketing, but hey, is it marketing? Like, what is the top 3 things that you're thinking of right now that are in your, what is concerning to you?
I think like supply chain is a big issue. Like to get bottles, we use PET bottles, small PET bottles or plastic bottles, 1 year. You need to book them 1 year in advance. The supply.
Really?
It's insane. Yeah. The main one we're using, they are booked until 2024. So it means that some brands went and told the producer, guys, we are buying all your inventory until 2023, the end of 2023. So we have to wait until 2024. So in a year and a half now to get new inventory of this specific one. So we found another one from another producer, but you have to book at least 6 months in advance. Like basically, when they're going to do runs, they call a few guys saying, guys, do you want a bottle? To tell me now and use. So plastic bottles become very, very difficult to get. Most of our other ingredients is being easy because they are all coming from the US, so that's fine for us. So it's been on the easy one. The toughest one for us is definitely the bottles. But it impacts a lot of things because you don't have the bottles, you can't produce much, which means you manage inventory much tighter. So when we produce, we can produce as big as we can, but then you need to manage your SKUs, and because also the stores, they order like, if I sell to Target, it's going to be like several pallets at a time, especially when they do reset and stuff like that. So we need to work very closely with the retailers to make sure that there is no shortage and stuff like that. So this is the biggest one.
Wow.
That, like any other startup of funding, is going to be every year or 2 years you need to fundraise, of course. So this is always on top of mind because you need to work on it. So that's what we do as well.
Wow. Huh. Okay. And you said your top 1 supply chain, number 2 is fundraising. What is the third one?
So a team, finding the right people, of course. Basically, your company is as good as the people you work with, right? So that's always something we are trying to also. We have something we have not cracked. If we could do better, for example, retailers and stuff like that. So it's really finding the right people to help us expand is the difficult one because you invest a lot into people. So each time you hire someone, or even if you work with an agency, a lot of investment. I'm not only talking about money, but time as well. Training them and stuff. So this is something where you can't make too many mistakes, or mistakes are expensive.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. So number 1, supply chain. Number 2 is funding, and number 3 is hiring. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't put hiring for fundraising. It's just a constant thing that we need to work on. So it needs always to top of mind, right? But it's not really a big issue for us at the moment, but something we keep on working on all the time. And
that's amazing.
I think marketing, I think we've done a good job, but we are creating a brand new market, so it takes a lot of effort. But I see it with all the brands. The good thing when you're creating your own market is that you manage, then you're the reference brand. If I tell you, coconut water, you're probably going to think about Vita Coco straight as a brand. People Vita Coco instead of coconut water. If I tell you oat milk, you're probably going to think about Oatly mostly because they've done a great job at educating the customer. So when it becomes a reference brand for a category, then even if competitors come, you will still remain the main brand getting most of the market. And these competitors are going to help you grow the market, but you're still going to remain 50 or 60% market share in it.
That's really fascinating. Okay, wow, that's amazing. Is there anything else that has been top of mind for you, that we haven't mentioned yet that you wanted to that, like you say, hey, a lot of brands are doing this, or a lot of Amazon sellers are doing this, and they need to be doing this. Is like, is there something that that you're seeing that's saying, hey, everyone should be doing this? Is there anything like that that's top of mind that you've been thinking of that's been happening lately?
Very interesting trend for me, and I'm looking forward to see how it's going to change. Is we see a lot of companies starting Amazon aggregator, meaning they are buying different brands and putting all of them under one umbrella. So this is the opposite of what I'm doing. They don't care about the brand, qualitize as much
Yeah.
as they can, right? They put the brand, all the brands under one umbrella. They streamline the cost to make it as cheap as possible. They optimize the Amazon listing, but it's more an Amazon game than really a brand game, right? It's like getting as many reviews as you can, being visible in the keywords, that's it. So it's the opposite of brand building. It's really like it's product building, which is fair, huh? Which is perhaps makes sense. And we see more and more of those, meaning the cost of the CAC on Amazon is also increasing because meaning that people are more relying on brands are relying on Amazon to build their business rather than going to retailers or to B2C. So maybe Amazon will become as expensive eventually, but this, I think, is a very interesting trend. And I'm looking forward to it and looking at what category will really emerge as in this aggregator. Can we really build brands, or is it going to be just commodities like I don't know, like pens and I don't know, like tables and chairs, stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I feel like it's almost that like these aggregators, they just buy sellers at the end of the day, and they're not worried about like the brands. Kind of, you know how you were talking about sustainable growth. That is not what these brands. That is not what they care about.
Right? They want EBITDA, they want cash at the end of the day very quickly, and they want to optimize the cash even stronger. Let's see. And I wonder if at some point you won't not going to see like small brands coming and decommoditizing a little bit some categories. A bit like
Yeah.
Yeti has done a great job with all the beach stuff, like the beach tent and the coolers and stuff like that. Coolers used to be a massive commodity that really would care about the brand of it. And then Yeti came and created a real brand out of it and commoditized the category. And because Amazon is commoditizing so many things, I wonder if you see an uncommoditization of some of these categories.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Cool. That's all we have time for today. But I'd love to tell the audience, like, please tell the audience like how to find you. If they have any other questions or anything else, love to please tell them how to find you.
Of course, look, you can reach out on LinkedIn if you manage to spell my family name correctly, which is not easy. But you can check for Wolf Spring, which is our brand, very crazy wolf, like the animal, and spring, like the seed. So Wolf Spring, we are the first like functional beverage for dog. And reach out, and we're always happy to meet other entrepreneurs, other people interested in branding, and and exchange about the different issues each one of us have.
Cool. Yeah, they have really amazing branding. They're you guys have some awesome packaging. So if you're looking for packaging examples, like these guys are the packaging examples that you guys need to use.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, ATM. Thank you so much for joining today. And thank you everyone in the audience for joining as well. This is the Failures and Wins podcast. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.